All right, everybody, it's Chris Garrison here, and I've got a special guest, Mike Fallat. This dude is a beast. Super excited about what we're going to take away from this conversation today. He helps people author books, and he also authors books. He has just released a new book, and we're going to get his backstory, what got him into this. If you're not on the Bigger Vision page in the Facebook group, then please join. It's a free membership. I know we're streaming live also on LinkedIn and YouTube. So y'all hop over if you got a Facebook account, plug into that community. Close to 900 members right now, and we're steadily growing. A ton of mindset, business, and investing content is being dropped. So Mike, man, I'm not going to hold you suspenseful anymore. Tell us about yourself, what your backstory is, and kind of bring us up to this point to where you have just published this new book.
Chris, I'm thrilled to be here, man. Bigger Vision. We started talking, I guess it was at a legacy family get-together in Texas, all right? Me and you, we just kind of sat down, struck up a conversation. Little did we know that we would be hanging on a private jet within a couple months together, going to other events. So it's an honor to be here, man, to talk to your community. Bigger Vision has grown. And I tell people all the time, you know, when I first met you, you are one of the guys that just started getting into the social media game and just never let go of it. You have exploded. So well done on everything you've put together in the past year, past 12 months.
That's right. Thanks, man.
So just to get you up to speed on a little bit about my background, I have not been a writer and a reader my whole life. I did not start to get into the personal development stages, or I didn't fall in love with that world until I was 22, 23 years old. My employer at the time gave me a book, and I'm assuming you've read this book too. It's still with me. It's on my desk. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This has changed my life, man. This book, and I always tell people, you're one book away. You're one book away from what? I mean, a whole new life. You're one book away.
Yeah.
So he gave me this at 22 years old, and I put it down. I said, what the hell did I go to school for? I don't want to be a guy in an office, in a clean office, and, you know, working for a bank my whole life. Why didn't I pick up this back in 95 or whenever it came out? Because nobody gave it to me. The guy who gave it to me was a millionaire, so he was the first millionaire that I ever knew. I trusted in him, and it changed my life. I became a real estate agent at 22, 23, bought my first real estate property within 6 months of being my own agent, had a 4-unit building. I thought I was the king of the world. I thought I was the man, dude. Swear to God. Here I am with a 4-unit building, being an entrepreneur, thinking I'm going to be a billionaire within a year or two. I mean, that's how insane I was. Anyways, I take tenants to court. I'm fixing roofs. I'm fixing toilets and sinks nonstop. So this whole entrepreneur game just wasn't as sexy as I thought. And I knew it would take a long time, but I was really into building something from the ground up. I just love startup businesses. So I started 4 different businesses, major failures. I looked like a fool in front of my friends and family. I mean, I did some crazy stuff. It was a miserable time. But my 5th business was a direct-to-home dog product service, and it made some money. And all of a sudden, I started looking like a genius in front of people. Oh, you're making some money with this dog business? You know, teach me your ways. You have a 4-unit building. You have this dog business. What should I do to get into the entrepreneur game? And that's when I had the bright idea of writing it all down, turning that material into a book. The girl I was dating at the time was a great editor. I said, hey, you know what? Since I'm broke and I'm poor and I'm struggling, will you edit this book for free for me? And luckily she did. She helped me out. I put it up on Amazon. I turned it into an Amazon bestseller in 2015, and I was off and running. That's when my life changed. People started coming to me for speaking gigs. You know, I was getting attention online. And I said, if I would have just wrote this book when I bought my real estate investment in 2008, 2009, people would have respected me from the get-go. And I thought I would help people start businesses more so than anything else. What I did was I started giving information on how to write your first book. People were drawn to that way more than even just business advice. So I started helping individuals all across social media, not in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I'm at, all across Facebook and Instagram, how to write a book. A guy named Anthony Lawley, and I'm gonna see if I have the book here. This guy right here, this Anthony Lawley. This dude changed my life. And Anthony, if you're out there watching, you changed my life. I tell you this all the time, but the heart of the deal, this guy messaged me through Instagram, and I'm struggling at the time. He says, "It looks like you're the book guy." And I said, "Yes, I am. I'm the book guy, as you can see." He's like, "Can you help me become an Amazon bestseller?" I said, "You know what? How about I just do it for free for you? I'll just do it for free. I'll tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to do it for you. I know you're a millionaire and you have the money, but why don't I just give away my services just to prove myself to the market?"
Wow.
He's like, "All right, hey, if you turn me into a bestseller, we could talk afterwards." So I turn him into an Amazon bestseller. He gets the logo added to the book. He gets on radio channels all across New York, and he invites me out to his book signing. I really didn't have the money to go out for the book signing, so I got out my credit card. I drove out to New York from Pittsburgh. I sleep in my car for 2 days. I meet with Anthony Lawley. He says, "Thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping me out. By the way, I want to give you the information to about 6, 7 other people who need books." And the moment I got back from New York, I had a client list to work with. That's what gave me the jet fuel to keep going. And since then, we've done about 300 and some books, 267 bestsellers as of right now. You'll see there's a book out there. It is called Mastering the Giveaway. If there's a lot of people watching online, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, just look up this book right now, Mastering the Giveaway. We just started the push about 3 hours ago. That means if you go to Amazon and look this book up in about 8 hours, it'll say #1 bestseller at the very bottom of the page. So keep a lookout for this, Mastering the Giveaway. We get to work with entrepreneurs all over the United States, all over the world, but most likely United States, tax professionals. You know some of these names. Let me just show you some of these. Victim to Victor by Nick Santanastasso. Shares the stage with Tony Robbins. Just a badass dude. You know Joe Evangelisti. Multiplicity. I love this book. If you guys don't know that one, you should check it out. Tyler McBroom, the #1 tax guy on social media. Who would have ever thought someone could turn taxes into something that's interesting? This guy generates a lot of money on the back end from the book. And I'll explain that as we go through this podcast, I guess. Tim Lyons, Built to Grow. And I cannot not mention this book right here, Meconomy by Mark Evans. Mark Evans is another one of those 3 individuals that's changed my life. Anthony Lawley, Tony Wadley, and Mark Evans DM. So that's what we do.
So, man, all right. First of all, what is the emotional feelings that you went through as you moved through this journey? Because I remember when I was starting to get on social media and put myself out there was that fear factor of what are people going to think about me? I've got to make sure that I don't do anything wrong so I don't get judged. And I've got to, I almost felt like I had to turn into a saint if I was going to expose my life to the public. And you literally wrote a book, figured out how to make it an Amazon bestseller, and you're just going on this vertical that's huge. I mean, so many people obviously to have these customers come in with the book. So talk to me about the emotions you had when you first started, because you came out of failure. I did the same thing in my entrepreneurial game. I've heard so many people say that you hit a win. What did that feel like when you hit the first win?
Oh, it was like, hey, it works. All you got to do is keep it simple. You got to have vision. You got to understand demand. Break everything down into most simple form and work from there. You might not have the resources, but you might have the resourcefulness. And I kept telling myself, just stay at it. If I give up, I will regret it when I'm 75 years old. I know it. And I'm willing to go through this pure hell, baptism by fire, if you will, because I always thought to myself, the road to paradise is always uphill, always. Yeah. So wherever it's more difficult, go lean into that, embrace that moment, and you will have other tools. You will have other resources that other people were just not willing to fight for. So that first win gave me confidence. That confidence led to a book. The book led to more confidence because I was getting attention. Now I could share my story a lot easier because once you put it in a book, Now it's almost like the world's going to know about it. I might as well defend it. So by putting it out there and defending it, you become a formidable creature. You become stronger with your self-esteem, with your storytelling, with your charm, because you need to sell your story in a way that is attractive. My second book was called Attractive Story Selling. And if you don't own your story, if you try to hide it, the market will know, and they will try to stay away from you as much as possible.
How did you know you had a story?
Well, I realized that every struggle, every misstep, every failure was sort of interesting to the average person. Because if it's the dream to start a business, why is it that most people don't start a business? Well, it's because there's so much failure, so much rejection, so much negativity. If I could embrace that and just lean into the struggle, and if I could figure out any which way to get clear on who I am and where I'm going in life, that's going to give me an advantage. So I kept saying to myself, just go where it's difficult so you can find out more about yourself, so you can take all those bits of information and then lean back, put your hand back to these individuals and say, hey, wherever you're at, let's get to where I'm at, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically. And maybe if I help enough people get to where they want to go, I can get to where I want to go. So the moment I noticed that my story was helping people, I started telling more stories, started leaning into more lessons. I tried more industries. And you know this, when you get around other high-performing individuals, by being in certain masterminds, you now are behind the curtain. You know information that other people would die for. It's only your duty to give back to those people who might not see behind the curtain just yet.
Yeah, dude. Another thing that stuck out about your story, you mentioned resourcefulness, and I see there is a consistent thread through every wealthy, high achieving person. And that is, I'm going to do whatever the hell it takes to get to my dreams. And you said, I didn't have the money. I threw a credit card together and slept in my dang car for 2 days while, I guess you went to the truck stop, got a shower each day. Maybe
shower at the gym. You can shower at the Y for free, guys. You get a 3-day pass. Just let you know.
But that tells us right there, your tenacity to make sure that you were going to win because you were hungry. And that's a common thing that I find in every person that is achieving things. They say, I don't give a shit what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Like, you're not going to stop me. You said you had some confidence from those wins. So as you were hitting those wins, that confidence gave you even more of that power to say, nothing's going to stop me to prevent me from reaching where I know I'm supposed to be. Did you know in your gut that there was a higher calling for Mike, that there was a different version of Mike that was supposed to be living beside the version that just got started in real estate or the version that had failed in those first couple of companies? Like, why didn't you give up?
Yes. To answer that first question, I did realize that there was something inside of me that needed to come out. And as I have read more books, I've realized it was what Carl Jung, a Swiss psychologist, says, the shadow. Have you ever heard of this term at all? The shadow?
No. Tell me about it.
So ground zero moments will teach you more about yourself than anything else. And
I agree.
I thought of a book, or maybe if it's in a movie, you guys know, it's Count of Monte Cristo. I kept thinking to myself, I'm the Count of Monte Cristo. You get wronged by certain people in your life, and you're put in this box, you're put in this prison, and you're weak. Maybe you're not sure of yourself. You're not certain of your identity. You don't step away from the herd mentality. You know you should, but you can't. So when people ask you to go drinking, you go drinking. When you start to want to say what you really feel about politics, you kind of say, what are my friends and family going to think? And I kept telling myself, there's something inside of me that needs to come out. Every time I felt ashamed of not saying something, I took note of that. I said, I got to get rid of that somehow. And over time, through the journey of entrepreneurship, those ground zero moments, you dig deep into your shadow, as I talked about before. And that's all the dark energy that society pushes away because they say you don't need this anymore. Your thoughts, your anger, your frustration, bury that deep down. Society has no place for it. But you'll never be able to figure out who you are until you wrestle with your shadow and can control it. Because those individuals who are not yet monsters will always be treated poorly and allow the other monsters to treat them poorly. So those ground zero moments taught me that there is something inside of me that needs to come out. And I'm going to get more vocal about what I really believe. I'm going to start saying no to herd mentality. I'm going to even go a little bit more full force into my vision. When people tell me no, I'm going to use all of that as fuel, as energy to project me even more. When someone says no to me now, I'm like, thanks for the bonus tip. I appreciate that because I'm going to use that now to go a little bit farther, a little bit faster. It's extra gas in my tank, if you will. So I guess when it comes back to, for anybody out there listening or watching right now, I would say embrace those ground zero moments, because if you can figure out who you are, I'm telling you, you have an advantage over 85, 90% of the people out there. That makes every decision so much easier to write about. What are you going to write about? Well, if you know yourself and you know where you're going and you know where you come from, it's going to be easy for you to write in a blog post, easy to write on social media, easy to get up on stage, easy to get on a podcast. And that clarity allows other people to know what you stand for. And this leads into the other point where you become known as a giver. Okay. What you go through, it's not just your story. Growing and giving are like the two characteristics of the most alive people. Tony Robbins always says this, is that the human being will feel most alive if they're growing or giving. So that means if you're forcing yourself into uncomfortable situations, you're automatically leveling up and growing. It gives you this sense of being alive. And then when you start to write books, get on a podcast, put yourself on video, you're giving back. This also fuels the soul. So as long as you're doing those two things, it's going to be an amazing life. The other people out there will stay away from that. They're going to stay in their comfort zone. They're not going to put themselves out there to defend themselves online or say what they really feel. So lean into it, because that's going to be an asset and probably the most attractive part about you in due time.
Dude, I love that. The fact that you said the giving and the growth is when we feel most alive. I definitely resonate with that, because, another thing that is common in achievers is we do a lot of self-reflection, because we're constantly trying to understand about ourselves. One of the best posts or the most engagements when I make posts on social media platforms is when I tell my story, like you were just talking about. You said everybody's got a story. And I think one reason most people think they don't have a story is because they think they haven't arrived. But there's this, I heard somebody tell me about how on your tombstone, you've got the number that you're born and the number that you die. And that dash, that right there is where everything matters, on that dash. Well, what about your dash, man? The dash is where your story comes from. My engagement is so much higher when I make those posts that says, I was here 5, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and now I'm here. And this is what's allowed me to get to the point, because people they identify with the struggle, because everybody struggles in life. We just struggle at different levels, and it feels like a roller coaster, man. Some days just shit, and other days you're on top of the world. And the days that are shitty, you're sitting there pushing yourself, saying, hey, tomorrow's going to be fantastic. Let me put the work in. Let me prove the process is right. How did you figure out how to make a bestseller on Amazon? Because that's kind of incredible. Like, I would think I just need to know, how'd you figure that out?
So there was an author that when I wrote my first book, Dream Starter, I got invited to speak at this Motivation Unleashed seminar. And it's amazing. Like, I'm just this normal guy trying to get attention. Nobody cares about me. Write a book, and it's not a bestseller at the time, but all of a sudden people started asking me to speak at a Motivation Unleashed seminar. Wild. Just the transformation of who I was to where I'm at now is it's pretty wild to me, even to share it with you. So I go to this seminar, and this guy there is he had a story that he wrote a book, and he was paralyzed during an accident at the beach, and he wrote a book about how he coped with that situation, and it was an Amazon bestseller. After the event, he says, you can turn that into a bestseller, that book you have, pretty easily if you understand a couple things. I found out they were leverage, positioning, and timing. If I could find a weak spot on Amazon, because this is the free market. Amazon has many different categories. If you could figure out a category that has low demand on a certain day at a certain time, I could pop my book in that category, get my friends and family to buy the book, and within a very short window, whether it's an hour or 3 hours, Amazon's going to run some type of calculation on the back end and say, wow, we have a lot of velocity with this book. Our goal as Amazon is try to make money off this guy. So we need to give this guy exposure. Okay, he had 20 sales within an hour. That's going to give us a sales rank of X. Okay, I'm going to move Mike to number 1 in this category. And this is Amazon saying this. I'm going to put him at number 1 so more people can see that this book is selling really well. So once I realize that that's just a game, leverage, positioning, timing, I'll figure out where there's low demand within a category. And I know the days now, I know the times. We reach out to our network. Everyone buys the book within that short frame. And within 8 hours, Amazon does the calculations and it hits you at number 1. You can add the bestseller logo. You now have the screenshots. You can change the bio. You now have a best-selling book, increasing your social evidence, your social proof. If you've ever read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, he talks about the reason why you need to become a bestseller anywhere is because nobody will believe in you until other people believe in you. And nobody will buy from you until other people buy from you. So they're not trusting you. They're trusting the market. The moment you have bestseller next to your name, the market has already signed off on you. You've already been proven. And it makes it easier for people to pay attention to you, to listen to you, to remember what you say, and to buy from you. So the bestseller trick is a game changer, even though it only takes about 24 hours to do.
All right. So you're leading me into my next question, and it's going to be kind of a 2-part question. First of all, let's take me for instance. I'm like, dude, I can't write a book. Like, where would I even start with writing a book?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've got some experience, but I am already overwhelmed and I'm already quitting it mentally in writing the book. And I've not even pulled the paper and pen out yet. Okay. So how do you take someone through this journey so that anybody can be an author?
Great question. I'm going to come back with a Socratic method and ask you a question. What do you think your hourly rate is? What is your hourly rate? What's it worth to you? So if someone were to say like, hey man, what do you think you're worth per hour? What do you think that is?
Man, at this point, I would say a few thousand for sure.
Beautiful. Okay. So the average book that we write, which is about 120 pages, about 20 to 25,000 words, takes about 110 hours. If you do the calculation on your hourly rate times 110 hours for a writer, you're going to look at something and say, oh my God, that's what it costs to do a book personally. Why don't I outsource this book? And have you ever read the book Who Not How?
Chris? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody out there, please read this book. It will show you that the most successful, the elite performers outsource their weaknesses, the non-revenue producing activities. Now, next question, Chris, is who wrote this book?
I don't know. You tell me. I would think it would be Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody thinks. I was just at an event with Chris Rood. He had Allies Mastermind, and I held up this book. I'm like, who wrote this book? And there was a young, like 9 or maybe she was probably 12 years old in the audience, and she goes, Robert Kiyosaki, and I like, nope. And I think I just crushed her dreams because it's not Robert Kiyosaki. It is Sharon Lechter. She's the brilliant individual. Can you see that there? There it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So Sharon Lechter's the writer, and it makes sense if you think about it because Kiyosaki's the brilliant brander. He's the brilliant mastermind. Why would he sit down and write a book that's probably, I don't know, 40,000 words, somewhere in there, and do the exact same thing and do the calculations in his head and say, why don't I just hire a writer to bring it to life professionally? That way I can market this, and then I can create the events, and then the board games, and then the brand. So you focus on what you do best. The question gets answered by hiring someone to do the writing for you, at least the bulk of it. Great to see you, Seth. We're going to be working with Seth here too. So it's good to see you, man. So you outsource it. What that means is you have someone like me, or maybe you have an aunt who's a writer, or maybe you know someone who's a writer on Fiverr. Get someone to ask you questions about the book itself. You got to start with the vision. And I love how your podcast is so appropriately titled Bigger Vision, because it does start with, how do you see yourself using the book once it's done? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be increasing your revenue streams? Are you trying to get on podcasts? Are you trying to get more speaking events? Or are you trying to create a tribe, a group, a Bigger Vision membership program?
Yeah.
If you start with that, now you work your way back and you say, you know what, if I'm going to create a Bigger Vision membership tribe, what do I want them to know? Well, in order to have a bigger vision, you need to be around the right people. You need to join masterminds. You need to live a life that's worth noticing, worth mentioning, worth telling. So now you have these 3 lessons. You break down all the lessons, and I recommend 15. That's a magic number in book creation in our world. 15 general lessons. It could be one word, it could be a sentence. And then you add in, do I have a specific story tied to this lesson? Yes or no? And I would assume that whenever you went to your first mastermind event, or when you walked into that event at the Legacy Boardroom, Legacy Family, you realize that you're in a room of committed individuals. And now that story tied to that lesson, geared towards a specific audience that's in your mind, oh, I want to go after people who are looking to have bigger vision, bigger impact, bigger legacies. So if you have those 3 things, lesson, story, target audience, you sit down with a person like me and I say, lesson number 1 is about getting around the right people in order to have a bigger vision. What does this mean, Chris? And how did you learn this lesson? This is the Socratic method in full effect. If I can ask great questions, answers will follow. Great answers will follow. You will not get a good answer unless a good question is asked. And that's in life in general. How do I solve this problem? I'm going to figure out how to shoot for the stars. I'm going to figure it out somehow. The answer is what's important. Do you have a question?
Yeah. So of course I got a question. So now at this point, I realize I've got a story, and I just, how do I deliver that? Am I doing this on a voice memo? Am I literally writing this down? And tell me how I'm connecting to you and your team, and kind of paint me that picture so I can visually see what this journey is looking like.
Yes. So we do it all via Zoom. Okay. People are always like, why don't you fly down to Florida and we'll just do the interview here? It doesn't help, because I need to be recording via Zoom. I need to have the one-on-one, no distractions, Q&A, just like this. So for 2 hours one day and 2 hours another day, we're just going to go over your 15 lessons you want to share with your audience. And I'm going to ask you questions about that story. Maybe your dad taught you something. Maybe you bought that first 4-unit building and you found out one of the tenants was screwing you over and is a con artist and somehow had connections to the seller, and the seller was a liar. These are great stories that other people might want to know about you. So I'm going to get the lesson and the story out of you throughout our conversation. Once it's all recorded and bottled up, I send it to a writer. I have about 15 individual writers. One of them is actually going to sit down and watch the interview. This is not a transcription service. This is just a human being that's going to sit there and write it up for you. Lesson story in a simple, effective manner, written at about a 14-year-old level. If you guys look at all the most successful speeches, all the most successful books, they're written at about a 14-year-old level. So you want to dumb it down to a general speech that everybody could understand. And that's what we try to do. We write a book, 120 pages, 20,000 words, which is about a 90-minute to 2-hour read. Why is that important? Because nobody's going to try to sit down and get to know you and try to read 300-400 pages like a Tony Robbins book. They are building a relationship with you. They want to know the core details of what you can do for them and who you are as a person. Nobody is going to care about you until you help them with their life, but nobody will trust you until they know about your life. So that's what we try to do. We write it, we send it back to you. You do 2 edit run-throughs. We help you out with title and subtitle, and then we go to cover design. So within 30 days, this is all done on a time frame. If you look at this book, most likely it took a year to write. The average ghostwriter probably costs $45,000 to $100,000. Takes about a year to do. I figured out that if we could break everything down into a very short window, we can write it within 30 days. We could save the entrepreneur everywhere a lot of money and a lot of time. So we write it, we send it to you, you fine tune it, you send it back, we clean it up, format, make it nice and pretty, make it look like a book, upload it to Amazon. Amazon is something that you guys don't even realize is also a printer. I mean, it's amazing. AmazonKDP.com. Check it out. Just Google it. You can upload a book for $0, get it printed for approximately $3 to $4. Looks just like this. Get it in the mail. Now you say, holy smokes, I'm an author. This is actually real. Mike really did come through for me. Why don't we do an Amazon bestseller push? We put you on the schedule. You're an Amazon bestseller. Your life will never be the same. But that's where people think the journey ends. That is not where it ends. That's where it begins. Now you have an Amazon best-selling book. To do all that right there, start to finish, 75 days. Half down is $5,000. Half upon completion, which is another $5,000.
Dude, so that's a steal of a deal. So you're telling me it's $10,000 for me to set myself up as an authority and influencer in a space that I have something to market.
Absolutely. The root word for authority is author. I don't care if you write about socks. If you write a book, you have authority somewhere, somehow. So yes. So $10,000. I try to make it cost effective. We have people like certain individuals. Mike, you got to raise your prices. You got to raise your prices. I'm trying to build allies. Yeah. I want allies everywhere. Yeah. You are only as strong as your circle. I'm trying to increase my circle. And I guess that's the way I'm looking at this. We do pay the bills. We have a big team, a lot of designers. I have a project manager who runs everything. We also have the funnel programs on the back end. We use Go High Level. We have the software in place if you need the book funnel. And I guess we could even talk a little bit about that. The magic of a book is not just about knowing who you are, where you come from, where you're going, and maybe having some authority. It's the multiple revenue streams that come from it. And once you know that people are interested in mastering the giveaway, you may say to them, I got other stuff I can help you out with. I have this affiliate over here that can come in. We'll do a call and add more value to your life. I have this apparel line that might be of interest to you, Bigger Vision Apparel. You may want to jump on this webinar. You may want to come to this event. It never ends, and you just keep repeating the cycle over and over and over, just increasing your revenue streams, your authority, and your network.
All right. So tell me about the $1 million book.
Oh, man. $1 million book. It's in the final stages. Probably within next week, it'll be live on Amazon for everyone to buy. $1 million book, how to publish a book and generate wealth without even selling it. It outlines why you need to write a book. It outlines why you need to, put it together in a certain format, in a certain way. And it also outlines how to use it. Pretty much a quick summary of everything I talked about on this call. Yeah. But it goes into a lot more detail. It helps you understand the magic of building your tribe around a book. And people think that they're going to make money from the front end sales. I need to break that habit right away when I meet with individuals. You are going to make 1,000 times, 100,000 times more than you will on the front end. You'll make it way more on the back end. What you do with the book is actually more important than what's inside the book. Most people will not read the book from start to finish. They will make a decision if they want to invest with you, buy from you, partner up with you. And that's the relationship. If you increase your relationships with like-minded people, there's nothing you can't do. You can obviously just keep growing as an individual. As your authority grows, your net income, your net worth grows. And I think that that book is going to outline a lot about how to do so in a very short amount of time. And it also outlines how we do everything. Because if you want to know everything behind the curtain of how we put things together, I'm putting it all in this book. I give everything, so there is no miscommunication.
Give me a success story or two of maybe what a book has done for you and one of your clients, what a book has done for them.
First book, Dream Starter. I realized that I could generate leads in my sleep. I was doing it in a very inefficient way. I was doing it as a PDF. I didn't give away the paperback copy. I gave it away as a PDF. I generated hundreds, maybe thousands of leads through that PDF. That gave me this email list that I could send them emails and maybe get them on a call afterwards. So it showed me the power. I got a lot of bad leads because it was all free. It taught me that my next book or 2 books or 3 books later, I need to increase my buying relationship with people. Once you have whether it's a free plus shipping offer, and that's what we do for clients. I'll give you an example here. Tyler McBroom, this guy right here. If I know you guys don't like talking about, I think this group might like talking about taxes. This is tax strategy 101, bigger vision. Right. When you start making money, you need to figure out how to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
This guy this is probably the best way to create a buying relationship. He does a free plus shipping offer, and people will go on his Instagram and get his book. Just swipe up or click the link and get his book for free. All they got to do is pay $6 in shipping. The person will get the book before the book even arrives, which we do all the fulfillment and everything for him. But before the book even arrives, he'll send them text messages, emails, maybe even voicemail drops. Hey, I also have a cash profit accelerator group. I'm also doing this type of webinar. I'm also doing these type of calls. Do you want to jump on a call and do this? So he potentially could turn this lead before the book even arrives into a $4,500 sale, into a $7,500 sale, into whether it's even $497 sale. It doesn't matter. He could generate revenue from an automated system on the back end. So he's probably the most successful at doing so. And I would say, you talk about $1 million book, we're going to be doing awards for our first clients that break $1 million on the back end with their funnel. Awesome. And I would say that he's the first one to do so with our program. So Tyler McBroom, just an absolute machine. I'll be at his event in October. If you guys want to know who is the best when it comes to taxes for business owners, I recommend him. And the other question I guess you have is maybe something that has nothing to do with business or finance. But there's a woman named Olga Zakal. I worked with her probably 3.5 years ago. She put out a book called The Midlife Crisis Awakening. Just a great woman, badass entrepreneur from Russia, knows what's going on in this world. It's amazing. She puts out this book. She texted me or called me. I guess it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after becoming a bestseller. Mike, my family treats me better. My daughter looks up to me with more respect. I'm getting treated better from my family. I cannot tell you how much this means to me. So thank you for making me look good with this book. And it was really just her starting a book, finishing it, and becoming an Amazon bestseller. It is a social hack because if you have something that other people want, you automatically look like you know what you're doing more so. And it's respectful to finish what you start. And I got to say, Olga, when I heard that, it kind of shocked me. I never saw that coming.
There's another common thread. It's just so funny as I speak to individuals that are doing big shit in life, man. There's so many commonalities that are very apparent. And one of them is the giving mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, you're giving a book away. You've got this little bit of skin so that you pay for the shipping, but there is a give. And it blows my mind. Even right now in this moment, I was sitting here and I'm thinking the power of the gift and the fact that money almost always follows a gift. Mm-hmm. When you give something away of value, people appreciate it because it is so rare, because so many people have this scarcity mindset in the world as a whole. So when you have an abundant mindset thinker giving away, it's completely different. I've even heard people talk about how if you grab sand in your hand and you squeeze tight because you've got that scarcity mindset and you're trying to hang on to it, it runs out through your fingers. So it's so refreshing when you do get a gift from someone, whether it's just, our mentor, Mark Evans, DM, he sits there and says, dude, if you're on social media and you don't have money to give away, or you don't have a service or something like that, then simply just acknowledge their post by putting an emoji or throwing a couple of words up underneath it in the comments section. That small act of giving impresses and commands notice. And that's exactly what you're doing with your clients. Is you're grabbing this book, you're saying, give this thing away. Let's try to cull some of the leads that are not really going to be worth having by acknowledging there is a shipping fee. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this lead source and people are instantly in business with you. They're ready. They want to be told what they need to purchase.
Yeah, there is something to be said about showing that you care. Whatever you could do to show that you care more than another person, showing more so that you're committed than the next person. If I finish something like this, most likely, you're talking about 150 hours probably from start to finish with everybody's time involved. Right. And you give this to someone, it just makes you look like, okay, and it's the Gary Vee approach, give, and then ask. Yeah. If you give enough content, just imagine if you give enough content whether it's over a week, a month, or a year, or even multiple years. There are people on my email list that have never done business with me. And then 3 years after I've sent them that first email, they're doing a book, or maybe they're wanting to be a part of some investment together. It's amazing. If you just keep giving, maybe it's not the book that's going to be the fire starter, but the book leading to maybe another post, maybe showing up to their event, maybe inviting them to jump on another webinar that might add value to their life. It's the beginning of the relationship strengthened over weeks, months, or years. And that's going to lead to an amazing life if you just keep that rhythm, that cadence of being a giver. Going back to that Anthony Lawley story, I don't know where I got it from, but I realized, hey, I could try to make $500 from this guy, or I could give my services away for free. Yeah. By giving away services for free, I'm going to tell you, it probably has yielded maybe $200,000 from all the customers that he has sent me, and the opportunity and just the word of mouth that he's on podcasts and he'll maybe even share my name. It's amazing. The moment you start to give, if you're in a terrible situation right now, stop thinking about your life and just say, hey, how can I be of value to someone else? Yeah. Jim Rohn brings this up. He says, be of service to the many, for service of the many leads to greatness. If you're trying to be great, just figure out a way to be of service to other people. Stop worrying about your own needs. And I know that's tough, especially like me. I couldn't even pay for my electric bill or mortgage or keep my water on. Yeah. If you just take yourself out of that and say, okay, I just got to add value to someone's life. Who can I do that for? Oh, if I could do that for this person and this person and this person, and then create that rhythm over and over and over, you become known as a giver, not a taker. And I'm telling you, high performers do not want to be around takers. That's right. Know just as much as I do, bad names travel way faster than good names. Yeah. So if you do something rotten, it's going to travel fast, man. And if you become known as a giver, then even it could start with a book. That could be the beginning stages. It will yield great results.
So talk to me about the power of networking. And then I know that you have a tribe that you have formed as well. So roll into, or maybe you want to commingle them on the answer, networking and your tribe, your community that you have going.
Well, I realized, I guess maybe through the book process, but if I ever want anything, I have to be the example first. So if I want to be accepted by certain individuals, certain masterminds, certain people who are putting big things together, I need to be valuable to them. I need to create a network that maybe it could add value to them. So I put together this inner circle, and it's called Mike's Inner Circle, with the sole intention of getting a like-minded patriot entrepreneurs together to potentially hook up and do deals together, whether it's multifamily, storage, or it could be anything, mobile home parks. That was the intention. So why don't I create a tribe based off of our like-mindedness when it comes to our love of country? I gave a book away called The Inner Circle. They pay $17.76 per month. Many people show up live for the calls. Many people watch the recorded calls in the back end. But since it kind of cuts down on the confusion, what are these people all about? Oh, these people love America. They love working together. It's the inner circle. A lot of these people chipped in and bought that book, Mastering the Giveaway. So you send out one text message to the group. Hey, we need a bunch of book sales. Can you guys help out? And then I just get flooded with text messages. I'm in. I got it. Thanks. Done. And so you get to build this tribe around who you really are. Like if you hide who you really are, you'll never find those individuals. So when I get on these calls with people, I'm like, hey, why did you join the Inner Circle? Their first thing they usually say is, I just love how honest and transparent you are. I love that you're able to say things that other people are not willing to say. So by having this core group and we all share the same values, we could do business together much easier. Whether it is work one-on-one, they're working together with t-shirt companies, funnel building, marketing, advertising, whatever, or maybe we put a pool of funds together to invest in something else, maybe like a dog insurance company like Mark is putting together. So that's what I've realized, the power of networking. Be the example first. You are only as strong as your circle, and you can't just stay with your group. You need to go out to other people's groups, support other people. That's another takeaway. Quit worrying about yourself 24/7 and support other people's groups as much as possible. Number one, you meet a lot more people. Number two, you are becoming a giver just by being a part of many masterminds. And I'm a part of maybe 8 or 9 that I can think of right now. So it's amazing, the power of networking. I would not be here if it wasn't for my network. I love how Mark posted recently. Anybody who says they're self-made is full of shit. And that is 100% true. You are a product of the people you're around, what you're talking about, what you're saying about each other. And that's why I dive into multiple masterminds and try to figure out a way to create multiple revenue streams from those masterminds.
I'm in personally 4 paid masterminds. And dude, my life changed when I got around these individuals that were hungry for more, that were hungry for hitting their potential, they have a different mindset. They're willing to give away their secrets. Like, yes, you just came on here and said, here's how I get the bestseller on Amazon. That was a secret, man. That's a trade secret. Yeah. So when I've gotten around these individuals, my net worth, my net income, my mentality, my cadence, my confidence, everything started changing. My life began to change. I mean, when you look at my daily routine at this point compared to what it was almost 7-8 years ago, it's a completely different look. I mean, everything about me has changed, and it's 100% contributed to the people that I've gotten around, my influences. Mm-hmm. And so you said you started this group to get these like-minded individuals so that you guys could share opportunities with each other. And that's exactly what I've seen. When you get in these groups, I learned about Forex trading, doing amazing in this Forex trading program because I was in a group. And then the cryptocurrency, man, they're about to launch this coin that I've invested in. And guys, I'm telling you right now, I will be a crypto millionaire. Hopefully that will even grow 10 years down the road to billionaire.
Are we talking about Pulse X, by the way? Yeah. We're going to be crypto millionaires, just to let you guys know.
So all of these things, though, all these opportunities came from paying to get in a room with other individuals that paid to get into a room, because immediately you've got like minds when someone said, I'm willing to invest in myself for an opportunity. Mm-hmm. That we weren't paying. I mean, yes, some of the stuff was skill set learning, but the majority of it is to get into the room with other people like yourself, Mike. I mean, you've already mentioned it. We met at Legacy Family under Tim Brott's event, and then we were on a private jet where we paid to get on that private jet to fly to get around a select few of 12 individuals. I put a post out, would you pay to be on a private jet with other millionaires to take advice for 2 hours? And I think I mentioned it was $5,000 or something like that. Way, way more expensive than I could have gone commercial line with. And I had a few folks that said no. And I'm like, that mentality is going to keep you exactly where you're at. Because if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then who else is going to invest in you? And that's what it was. It wasn't a plane ride, a private plane ride for me. It was meeting 11 other individuals that I could create a relationship with and grow with. I'll be doing a book with you because you made that choice to get on that plane. Matter of fact, Bigger Vision was launched as quick as it was because of you, because we had a conversation and he was like, dude, you sat there and said, Bigger Vision, that is a brand right there. And that's going to be your first book. You're going to tell people about how mindset has changed your life and how your vision has completely expanded when you began to get the right influences surrounding you. It's amazing. Coming in visually, coming in audibly. I mean, do you push your books over into Audible?
Yes. Yeah, we do recommend that. Once again, you're building a relationship with your audience. So people always ask me, should you read it yourself or should you outsource it and hire someone to do it for you? I believe if you have the time, if you have the equipment, you read your own book. Why is a book important? Because it's step one of a relationship.
Yeah.
The moment they see that, maybe they'll watch a video. Maybe they'll listen to it on Audible. The more they hear you, see you, and like know about you, the more they trust you, the more they share your name. So yes, I recommend to create a book, put it up on Audible. It does take about 14 to 20 days for it to get approved. So it's usually the final step. It goes Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and then the Audible. So it is a definite necessity. if you have the time and you have the want to. I didn't read my first book. I didn't have the time for it, but now I do. So yeah, highly recommend it for anybody out there.
I think I heard you say that the Audible downloads compared to sale copies of the hard copy is much greater. Did I hear
Absolutely.
you right?
It's trending upward.
Yeah.
So Audible is just on the incline. You start to see Kindle is still doing really well. Paperbacks on the decline. Not many people are buying that, obviously, as much as they were 20 years ago. So I recommend Audible. I think when they hear your voice, why are podcasts so important? It's almost like they have this relationship with you. They've been listening for hours or maybe months. And it's like they know your story. They know how you speak. They know what you teach. And, it's like pre-selling. Jonathan Rivera, he's a podcast producer. Are you working with Jonathan Rivera, by the way?
He does my podcast.
He does mine also. He wrote a book with us. It was called Results Leader. And he calls podcasting pre-selling. You're pre-selling yourself everywhere you go. So if you okay? There it is.
Man. Got it. So he gives this away.
Yeah, he gives it away.
Yeah, I signed up on to hire him to do my podcast. He's my team, and boom, I get this nice little care package in, and it's got his book there.
So it's pre-selling. If you have a way to pre-sell yourself before the conversation of let's do business together ever comes up, then you've won. So podcasting, audio books, videos will do so, stuff like this. It's already a done deal. And I think people out there who are staying away from putting themselves online and putting themselves out there are actually cutting their own throat. They're hurting themselves. People will not know you. They won't trust you enough. Even if you're the greatest business entrepreneur that's ever existed, people need to know about you beforehand.
Yeah, that trust that's built. I've had so many people reach out. And matter of fact, going to these masterminds, because I also am watching these individuals that are that I'm connecting with through these other Facebook pages. And when I show up at these masterminds, I feel like I've got a best friend there, and I've never even. So Mark mentioned on the call yesterday in our coaching group, and I'm looking at partnering up with the guy to do a mastermind, and who knows where it's going to go to. And I've never met him before in person. Like, we have spoke on the phone. We see each other on social media. We've had some emails back and forth, but physically in person, I've never shook his hand. But that tells you the power and the influence that you have when someone can see you, hear your voice. There is familiarity that happens and instantly trust, as long as you're coming across genuine. You got to be authentic and genuine, though. And that's what you said. You're in the inner circle.
You're creating a personal brand. I think another piece of this is that people are trying to build a business. What you need to do is create a personal brand, because I think if you're going to invest in real estate, are you really investing in that piece of property, or am I investing in the person that opened up the door for me? I think, me personally, I'm investing in the person. So if that property goes to hell and all that, or that business goes to hell, I got an ally still. I want to see how you respond, because this is not a one and done thing. I want to do business forever together. I'm 37 years old, 30 years, 40 years. I want to keep doing this. I want the right people in my life. So invest in the person. In order to invest in the person, I need to know their personal brand.
Dude, you're a freaking bigger vision, man. That's what it boils down to. When I get around you, I mean, it's just invigorating. I am ready to just run through a wall and say, nothing's stopping me. I'm hitting it. I'm making it. That's where it's going to be at. That's why you're going to be writing my book too, because you bring the heat with your authentic energy, and you say, man, I'm going to make it happen for you. You are willing to give whatever it takes to make sure I'm successful when I write a book, and any of your other clients are successful when they write a book. Tell me how people can get in touch with you. Let's say that they've heard this and they say, holy crap, what have I been waiting on? I thought I had no story. I thought I didn't know how to write because I wasn't great in English and didn't take all of these other courses. Now they realize it's simple. They just need to go back and follow your template of those, what are you trying to say? Who's your audience? Those, what was it, 15?
Yep, 15.
15 points. And they walk your system right there. They hand it over to you. You package it up. You make them look like just the genius and the person to go to on whatever subject they've wrote about. tell us how we can get a hold of you so that we can be geniuses.
Yeah, go to I like how you put that. Just go to dreamstarterspublishing.com. You could take a look at some of the things we've put together. You could say, hey, let's schedule a call, Mike. There's a little button in the top right. Schedule a call with me directly. We jump on a 30-minute Zoom call. I can walk you through everything, answer any question you might have. Or if you want a copy of my next book that's coming out, milliondollarbookpro.com. It's actually, I think, down below. So just go to that, sign up. The book is coming out this month. And if you want a copy, you'll see everything that I'm talking about, I do myself. I do practice what I preach. So every step of the way, you just kind of mimic what I'm doing. I'm not doing it because I think it's best. I'm doing it because I've seen very, very, very successful, much more successful than me do. And I just kind of mimic it and use it the exact same way. So that's another part of this, is that I'm glad you brought that up about, the enthusiasm, the energy. This book, when you put it together, guys, it's got to be fun. It has to be fun. If it's not fun, you'll never get it done. And even if you get it done, if it's not fun to talk about, you're not going to market it. You're not going to share it with the world. You're not going to use it properly. So look at your story as very exciting, very fun to share with the world. And I'm telling you, you're going to use it better than other authors, better than other entrepreneurs out there. It's just a part of the equation of success. Whatever you do has to feel like you're playing with it.
So how can I get to know you more? Where's your social media handles?
Go to Instagram or Facebook. I mean, it's not election season, so I'm not banned on Facebook, but Mike Fallat on Facebook and at the Dream Starter on Instagram is probably the greatest snapshot. I look at Instagram, not really about lead generation, but more of a resume. If you want to get the quickest view of who I am as a person, go to Instagram at the Dream Starter, direct message me there. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you, future best-selling author.
Dude, man, it's been pure gold. If you guys want to reach out to him, if you've got questions after the fact, he just told you how to get a hold of him. I will also post, I'll try to link if I don't have any links below in the comments so y'all can get a hold of him as well, make it a little bit easier. I appreciate your time. I'm excited about your book. When it launches, I'm sure you'll have it all over your social media platforms.
Man, you just wait.
You can buy. Yeah. So, I mean, you're definitely a killer at the marketing. You know how to push it out there. Obviously, because now you've got a ton of other individuals that are Amazon bestsellers. For you guys that were listening in, I appreciate your time. I hope you walk away with something and you put it into action. There was so much stuff that was spoke about. So re-listen to this if you didn't grab your action item, because that's what it's about. When you get in, here's what I've noticed in these rooms with other individuals that are hitting their potential every single day, is they take action. They sit here and they say, what hit me the strongest, and that hit me the strongest, I'm going to go take action on it today, not tomorrow, not next week, because procrastination will definitely kill the enthusiasm. So if you act on it today, then you'll start seeing life-changing things take place, and your dreams will no longer be dreams. They'll be realities, because now you're on that path and the process is taking you exactly where you need to be. Dude, have a wonderful day. Much success on your book. Thanks again for your time, Mike.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks, man.